Let me repeat that. Welcome to AlphaISM Radio. Tonight is April 18, 2007. I have a special gift for all of, basically for all of the community, for all of us that love Street Fighter. We're going to have Dave Sirlin on here in a few minutes, in a few seconds actually. And he's going to chat with us. Now, he just told me that that Capcom just told him not to comment any further on the game as far as, anything that's not already known. But that's fine because there's a lot of questions about what is known. So I still think it's going to be a fruitful discussion. But he also told me that his time is limited. So this is basically it. You guys, if you guys got questions, you're going to have to, submit them to me on AIM, RC, and private. But I'm gonna try to do this, try to do this fairly and to do this where it'll be fun and informative most of all. So please be respectful of him. I mean, no sly remarks. This is not a bash section. If you don't like the project that he's working on, then just don't comment. I prefer not to hear it. So. But I am pretty excited about the opportunity to actually talk to him, and again, I'm just stoked. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm debating whether or not. I guess I can just go ahead and do a show. I mean, after this part, after the interview is concluded, I guess I can go ahead and move on to other things. By the way, if you want to use Skype, I have a new name. The name is complicated. It's not Bunkeye1. It's more complicated. Just go on alphaism.com. And go to the forums and go to the AlphaISM radio thread. Or go on SRK, look on the AlphaISM radio thread, which is a sticky. You will see my name there in the second paragraph. I can now do 9 people simultaneously on Skype. I downloaded the new version that they just released a few days ago. I can do 9 people on the radio, including myself. So that opens it up. I know the five limit was kind of limiting, but 9 we shouldn't have too much problems with that. So I am very, very happy. Again. For those of you out there that are in the RC channel, if you see people that are having trouble, please remind them that as far as I know, it does not work. That the radio does not work very well with Windows Media Player. They will need to use VOC or Winamp. So here we go. Yo, you're on AlphaISM Radio. Who's this?
This is Sirlin.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
Well, first, I think I speak for just about every Street Fighter fan on Earth to thank you guys for what you're doing for the community. And I'm sure you're hearing a lot of it now, but I can't stress it enough. The last time we talked about doing, Super Turbo on Xbox 360, and now here it is, and better than ever. So I'm very happy. So thank you for all the hard work that you have been doing and you are doing for this.
Well, thank you. And now you know what I was talking about during Capcom Classics Collection 2, and I said that I was distracted because I was already working on other things.
Right. Let me ask you this.
Just like I'm distracted right now, and I'm already working on other things. By the way.
Wow. Well, that's good. I mean, if I read you correctly, that's very good. Let me ask you one question I have. There, on this game, I'm not sure if you can say anything or not, but I haven't heard this question being asked. Are you going to leave the door open for this game to be updated after its release, just in case if you guys have to fix something that you didn't catch during the testing phase? Do you know that for sure?
I don't know anything about that.
No.
So I
Okay.
can't answer. Sorry.
Oh.
It would be nice. I'd like it, but that's for business people to decide.
Right, right. Well, I guess the odds aren't too bad because if I remember, they did a couple of updates for hyper fighting, and if this game enjoys even just half the success of that game, then maybe we can see some future updates for this game as well.
Well, those were just like bug fixes, though, right?
Right, right, and I don't know if they're gonna allow, I don't know if they're gonna have a budget that will allow you to like do balance issues or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure they only have a certain budget for this game, and that probably would exceed what they originally intended. But it would be nice, though. I have to say.
You mean after release or for release?
Yeah, I'm talking about after release. Just because you can't account for everything, and this is assuming that you're able to get in the arrange mode that you were talking about on your site. It'd be kind of cool.
Right, I'd like to see that definitely. Yeah, I don't know the answers to this, but I'll bring it up and see see what we can do.
All right. By the way, if anyone have any questions for me, keep in mind that Dave's time is limited tonight, so I'm not going to keep him on too long. And remember that.
Well, and also my hands are tied here, and I'm not allowed to say a lot of things.
Right, right. But to me, that's fine. That's fine because based on what we know so far, I am still just flabbergasted. I'm still in shock about the announcement. And how do you feel about this project? Do you? I know it's so early, but do you have really high expectations for this project? Well, that's a stupid question to ask. You have high expectations for any project that you do, but are you really looking forward to seeing the completeness of this particular project?
Well, I've just had my head mostly in Puzzle Fighter because that's what we've been working on for a long time. So I've focused mostly on that, and Street Fighter will get focus pretty soon. But right now it's Puzzle Fighter, and Puzzle Fighter is turning out really really good. It went through a lot of iterations of trying different kinds of graphics, and I think it ended up in a pretty good spot.
One of the more interesting requests that you've seen on your site, on your blog, which I have to say that that's really nice of you to actually take that time to go out and actually answer some of the questions. But one of the more interesting ones is about the music. I guess a lot of fighters are musically inclined. So on the site you said you will look into possibly using it. I always thought that is it possible to just use the original arcade soundtrack? Or because to me, I know a lot of people like the I'm sorry.
That's the easiest. I mean, we don't. That'll be by default if we don't touch it.
Right, right. And to me, I actually think that's the best option. I know a lot of people like to get rearranged tracks, but I mean that's a nicety I can honestly live without. I mean, if it means sacrificing time that could be better spent doing something else, then then I am not for that. I mean, I understand that you guys got a limited time. You guys got deadlines and a budget, and I don't want to see. I mean, that's not really all that important to me. But I found that there was more than a few people mentioned about the whole music thing,
I read a lot about the music, and I think what you should tell people is it really would be looked at and considered if you started a thread somewhere that was just about the music, and ask what people thought about keeping it just the same as the original, or what they think about replacing it with the PC version. Are they pro or against that? I think the Amiga version or something is I think it's the same as the PC version. I could be wrong on that, and you could, your readers or viewers could, listeners, I guess, could point that out to me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I won't be able to say anything, but I'll make sure that people read it.
Cool. And I was going to ask you, as far as, when you guys actually start the artwork for it and everything, obviously that would include, I'm just reiterating what you said on your site, but just for purposes for the listeners' perspective, that everything is going to be redone. It's not as if, because I know on one of your responses you put, someone said that all you're going to have is like a new head for Ryu, but the body is still the same as to which just makes no sense. I mean, that's a fallacious argument, but people have to understand this is a completely redrawn game. Everything is going to be the same gameplay wise, but it's a completely redrawn game as I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told to say almost nothing here, but I think it's fair for me to quote Capcom. Capcom gave an interview on OneUp.com.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go see in that interview that even Capcom directly says everything's being redrawn and that it's 1080p, which is higher resolution than Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is only 480 pixels tall as opposed to 1080.
So and the thing about it though is, let me ask you a question on a more technical side. Like everyone's familiar with Street Fighter 3, but is it possible, without changing the animation frames, is it possible to get the fluidity that Street Fighter 3 has?
Without changing the well, no. I mean,
okay.
Isn't it by? Well, didn't you just answer it in your own question? Because if we don't change the frames, then you get what you get.
Right. I didn't know how exactly asked that, but I didn't think I wasn't thinking about that. But also another thing that I found was a weird omission, but I know you probably can't say anything because even if you could, I mean that's a business decision. But it was kind of odd that the Nintendo Wii has not been announced for this particular game, just because, well, the Wii is doing. You still can't find the Wii. At least I can't. Not in Seattle. So I thought that was kind of weird. There's a couple of people on there that's like, how come it's not for Wii? But I don't think that's a decision that you would be making. I'm sure.
Well, how are you going to play the Wii online? I mean, are there any online Wii games?
Right, that's true. That's
the entire point of this product is to make it online. Also, are you suggesting that it would be the Virtual Console, or are you suggesting it's a disc that people buy, or what?
Well, I mean, I guess a disc that people would buy, although that means incurring manufacturing costs and stuff like that, and it may be bigger than what Capcom had in mind for this particular project, But
digital distribution is a great cost savings. You can cut out the retail entirely. So, I mean, I don't know anything about this. I'm just speculating as a player like you. But it seems like the best deals for them are on the consoles that offer.
But it does support flashcards. Wii does support flashcards, and that game is not. I mean, flashcards is like 512 megabytes. I don't think that the game is going to be any bigger than that. If it's going to be on Xbox Live Arcade, so something maybe people will need to be able to purchase a flash card in order to download the game. But I don't have any problem.
Yeah, but how are you going to download it? Through the Virtual Console? Because that's a very special system. You can't just like make a game and put it on there.
I see. That's a good question. I guess I don't know. That's a very good question.
I know you can't. It's very, very heavily regulated. Yeah, the Nintendo Wii, actually, it's not widely known, but Nintendo actually makes everything on there. Even if it says that it's from another company, Nintendo is the one that does the port.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a very, very different, strange thing, being on the Virtual Console, that is. So there's I mean, I don't know the issues exactly about, what Capcom wants to do or something, but I can think of, 100 reasons why it just didn't work out to be on Virtual Console.
I understand that.
Actually, and, I can't even confirm that it's not on there.
Really?
No, I mean, I don't know. I just know, I know some things about what we're doing, but Capcom could decide a lot of things at a later point.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not.
I mean, it's that's a very good point, and that's a point that I think everybody listening should keep in mind. That we don't expect you to know everything that's going on in Capcom's headquarters. So, but
in fact, I saw some people announce a PC or mention a PC version or something. I mean, I can't confirm or deny that, but all I know is that what was announced was PlayStation and Xbox. And who knows about those other platforms in the future.
And by the way, on by the way, I'm advocating that everybody and their mom buys the game. I am planning to buy the game, and I don't even have an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3. I'm still going to buy it because I think that I told people on the forum that we have two choices. We can ignore this release and basically tell Capcom that the Street Fighter series should remain dead, with the exception of with the occasional compilation disc, or we can all jump on it like Right on Rice and show Capcom that maybe there is a market for a new Street Fighter game.
Yeah, I want to answer that as a player, not as a developer. But as a player, it's like I had nothing to do with that hyper fighting on Xbox, and it's like really bad in a lot of ways. But I mean, I didn't even question I should buy it because like you, I wanted to kind of send my vote. I don't want to vote for like bad quality, but I did want to vote in favor of Capcom like doing something, and they did have really high sales on that. In fact, they have a press release that says that. Their old press releases used to say that it was the fastest selling game on Xbox 360, which means that they were the like in the shortest amount of time they hit however many unit sales. But their newer press releases now say that it is the highest revenue of any Xbox Live Arcade game. So it like made the most money of anything. Anyway, I think that was a wake-up call to them. And so if you go back in time a couple years when I was advocating that they do stuff like this, and like maybe a Retron ST, and they're like, well, we can't justify it to management and whatever. There was the thought that if they kind of stuck their toe into it and they didn't commit a whole lot to it, that they could see what kind of response they would get.
Right.
And so when they put out a pretty bad quality product, they got a really big response.
Right.
And so that was a signal like, well, maybe they should go deeper into it. And so now they're going deeper into it, and that's what the Super Turbo is. It's going to be better in all sorts of ways than that other product. It's no comparison. And so I'm hoping that even if you find some faults in this thing or whatever, they're going to be nothing compared to hyper fighting. It's going to be way better than that. And I want everyone to vote for this so that we can go even farther than this.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you guys, it really is up to us. I was trying to make that point on how far this goes, if we support it, and I don't mean just by buying it, which is the most important way you can support it, but when it comes out, I'm going to be the first person on Capcom's BBS. I'm going to have a glowing review of the game, give a couple of suggestions for improvement, and leave it at that. I'm seriously going to do that because, most people need to realize, I don't know why people have such a poor view of the Capcom BBS. I mean, people who work for the company do read those posts. So, I mean, even though it is a company, it's still people still work there, and people do read. I'm trying to make that point. So, I mean, one of the things that I just wanted to clear up, the game will be out by next year, right? Have they?
I don't know if did they announce the date? I don't even know.
I don't think they announced a date, but I would assume it'd be out before 2008. So I mean that's unfortunately I wish it was in time for Evolution, but obviously that's not going to be the case. But yeah, there was some possibility of that happening, but it just the contracts didn't work out that way, and we're not going to be able to make it. Yeah.
But speaking of that, as something I thought that people should think about is there's a lot of talk about whether it's going to be arcade perfect or not, and so I've read a million posts on this stuff, and there was just one post that really stood out in my mind as being just the stupidest thing I've heard, where some guy was saying, well, it has to be arcade perfect. They've got to make sure that it's arcade perfect because, and this is his reason why it's important, is because if it's not, then when you're practicing for tournaments, it won't mean anything. For example, when you go to Evolution, you'd be playing a different game. I just want to put that into perspective on how stupid that is, because we're going to release a new version of Super Turbo, and don't you think that is going to be the tournament game? I mean, right? I'm also one of the Evolution co-organizers, and Capcom really likes our tournament series, and so they're going to want to promote it. And this is going to be the new tournament game. So, you know, like it or not, like it's maybe Zangief's like jump straight up fierce will dizzy you in one hit, or maybe it won't. I mean, you know, I can look into that and fix that. But like, are you really going to say that it's not the tournament game because of some thing like that? It's kind of ridiculous.
I agree totally, because you know the thing about it is I feel like this. People always complain about, you know, arcade perfection. You know, and the thing about it is that I really could care less. If the game is going to be the tournament game, then play it and have fun. And have fun with it. This is going to be fun. You know, I understand why Capcom was kind of looking at Evolution last year. I mean, I actually think we put on a good show for them last year. You know, about the turnout and everything, and about the hype behind it. I think we put on a good show, and I think it probably played a reason why they decided to do this project, because they want to see if they get that same type of attention on this new game. And it may be, once again, it's up to us out there to make sure we support it by A, going to Evolution, B, buying the game, C, giving feedback and glowing feedback about the game, and we'll see how far it goes. I honestly cannot wait, because I don't think there's ever been even from a technical perspective, I don't think there's ever been a 2D fighting game that's ever been 1080p.
No. To my knowledge, there's never been such a thing.
And
I mean, I'm sure someone's going to write in and find some obscure one, maybe, but I don't know of any.
Yeah, and I honestly can't wait. And I am one of those people where, hey, I mean, I am desperate for about anything. I don't care if it's Street Fighter Poo Poo. I'm going to support it 115%, and that's all that we can do, you know. And I really wanted to urge people out there to really do something about that and support it. By the way, about your question earlier about the PC version, FMJ just told me that they did announce the puzzle for PC, but they didn't announce Super Turbo for PC.
Really? They officially announced Puzzle Fighter for PC?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that was announced.
So whether or not this means that we'll see the eventual, you know, Super Turbo HD on, I mean, I guess, again, only Capcom would know about that. So, but, I mean, that gives us hope, though. I mean, but I am very, very happy. Okay, people are pestering me with questions about lag, and you already addressed this, but I'm going to let you address this again, because you had a lot to say about that on your site. So
yeah, but I have like nothing to say about it now.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm trying my best to make sure we use a method that has as little lag as possible.
Right.
But
right.
I can't comment on how that's going or whatever at this point.
I mean, by the way, do you think that What are the likelihoods? I mean, I don't know if I can even ask this question, but what are the likelihoods that when this game is when it's in the beta stage, how likely is it that some players may be chosen to actually participate, like in beta testing the game? I'm assuming they would want to do that at some point.
Yeah, we have not discussed that, so I should ask for that.
I mean, by the way, getting on to the arrange mode. I honestly, some people they gave you a lot of feedback, I think, about what would you like to, if there was an arrange mode included, what would you like to see changed? But in my my personal view is, if the people that placed high at Evolution last year I guess it's not Super Turbo, it's actually AE. I think, like the Wolf Brothers, I think they would be a great source, because to me, if someone's going to give balanced feedback on how to make the game more balanced, they would need to know every single matchup. A lot of people are sitting at their posting, make so and so do this, or don't make them do this and that, but they don't understand the domino effect and how they will affect matchups, make certain other characters better, and while making other characters weaker. And it would, to me, it seems logical that if you're going to have someone, if it's at some point Capcom decides, okay, you can choose one or two people that you can bounce ideas off of, I would think that I would straight up say, I would say you can use the Rook Brothers, because to me they have played Super Turbo nonstop for the last, can I say 10 or 15 years? I mean, they've been playing it a long time, and they know just about everything. I talked to Alex. Alex taught me a whole lot about Super Turbo. I don't even play the game, so I mean that's how I feel about that. But I know a lot of people are giving you suggestions on how you can improve the game, but to me, it takes someone who knows the game inside and out.
Well, sure. I mean, they unquestionably know the game. I mean, they are excellent top players. There are also other excellent top players. So,
right.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not to a point where I'm able to say anything or even comment on if we can do this arranged mode.
Right.
You know,
right.
I'd certainly hope so. And you know, like you said, the more eyes on it, the better, right?
Right. You know, even though you can't comment on the arranged mode, should we, like for example, you know, there's already a thread on SRK. Should we post a thread on Capcom BBS and about an arranged mode if there's not already one existing? And basically just have, you know, people post there what they would like to see. Not just what they would like to see, is would you think it's a good idea along with that? And would you think that would be beneficial?
I don't know. It's tough because those things end up being like 90% garbage. But
that's true.
You know, also it's like, yeah, there's this. How do I put it? It just so depends on what can be technically done, and that also makes it hard to judge ideas. Like, for example, what if I told you we can make whole new moves? Okay, then you're going to get a certain type of suggestion. What if I told you we cannot add any moves? We can only change the frame stats of existing moves. You know, but I can't tell you the answer to that. And you know, we're working on it, and so that's what makes getting suggestions so hard. It's like the people giving them don't know what is even feasible.
that's true.
So that's one problem. Another problem is that the mindset of people giving the suggestions is not necessarily right. So, you know, you have some people that just don't know what they're talking about. So, of course, we'll just get rid of them. But then you have other players that are, let's say, they're very, very highly skilled, and they're qualified to make some balance calls about what should be better or worse. So, even in this case, you know, maybe something they're not thinking about is that some of the changes, you know, shouldn't they make the game a little bit easier to execute stuff? I don't know. And because that's part of the, yes, it should be balanced. I mean, that should be that's the point, right? That's what everybody wants. They want a balanced tournament game. I totally get that. But you also want to have more players and for the game to be more successful. And it might be possible to make some little minor things here and there that wouldn't detract from the hardcore experience at all in any way. But it might be able to attract a few more players. And don't freak out on me. I mean super minor. But that's a mindset that maybe people should think about. Is that accessibility,
we talked about that last time.
In addition to balance.
We talked about that last time because you was always talking about that's a big barrier. Because, I mean, eventually you want to make the game where it's all about the mind games, not so much as who can execute that, you know, back forward to forward back, down four, up four, you know, type of thing, and actually pull off the move. You know,
Right.
I agree with that totally.
But another thing to be conscious about is, like, I know that you can't, I mean, don't even bother writing me about this. I know that you can't just make everything like for free, super easy, and super turbo. It has repercussions. There's some things that would just be fucked up. So, yeah, I mean, you. Let's just give an example that Magestros told me. So during the slowdown of a fireball, I think I posted this on my blog. When you get by a fireball, the game slows down on purpose, and every other frame it drops your inputs, and so it makes it very difficult to do certain combos because you just have to be lucky about whether you got the button press on that frame or not. And the point that Maj is trying to make is that if you say, well, I want the game to be easier, and that's all you think about, and you turn on all those inputs, all the ones that were dropped, then now it's possible to do read dizzy combos with guile. And it's actually already possible, but it's so unlikely that they would work that they're not practical to use.
Right.
But they would be totally bread and butter read dizzy combos.
Maybe something a lot more general, like for example, in an arrange mode, maybe it'd be cool if you get back, like someone brought up Guile's flash kick, which is down, back, forward, up, and then it's like down
that
again.
Crazy super motion.
Yeah, that crazy. If you can get rid of that out in an arrange mode, assuming it's in there, that'd be great. If you just turn it to a double circle forward, quarter circle forward, I would be happy. Although I don't think it's that big of a deal because for certain moves like back forward is not too bad. I don't think it's for the novice, but it's not bad. But that one Guile super and moves like that, the same input, that's really crazy. I think that's over the top, and maybe you could talk about making this a little bit easier. I think that's a really great point. In fact, let me ask you this question. This is a general question, but now that we know about this game, what do you suggest that we should do in the meantime? What do you see? Because last time we talked, you told us that it might behoove us to ask, to make some noise about getting on Xbox 360. Okay, we succeeded in that. So, what do you think we should do now? To help it along further.
I guess. Well, let's see.
Maybe it's too.
It would really help if you made a thread about the music, like I said.
Okay.
And I mean, again, maybe the other thing is the networking. A thread about like what is acceptable to you guys, like. I think I know the answer of is hyperfighting on 360 acceptable? But you might remind us that it's not acceptable. And if there's people out there who have played Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, you might share your thoughts on that. Like, is that acceptable? And if you've played Mortal Kombat 2, which has actually some different networking code, and it's more recent, Mortal Kombat 2, tell me what you think of that. And I think that's helpful. Maybe the answer is that none of that is acceptable, or maybe one of them actually got it kind of close, and it's good enough. And if we could get some feedback on that sort of thing, that would help.
Do you suggest that we post this on SRK?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Another question is about ask people their thoughts on, like, if let's say that lag occurs between two players, and so something's got to give. It's not going to be perfect no matter what you do. But how do they feel about increasing the input delay on both sides? The input delay is like the amount of time between when you press the button and when the move appears on the screen. So during periods of bad lag, you can increase that, and the game will still play normally, but it's a little less responsive. Another option is do not increase the input delay, but instead slow the speed of the game down. That's what I believe Dead or Alive does, and it has a weird effect of making the game a little easier, actually, because, like, let's say that you were going to do like a low roundhouse and then cancel it with fireball. I know you can't do that in Dead or Alive, but you know what I'm saying. And let's say there was some bad lag, so during the low roundhouse, if the game slowed down, you'd actually have more frames where you're able to cancel into the fireball, because it's slow. So it's a little easy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why the Dead or Alive solution, like, I think is pretty good. So you can compare that to even a third solution of, like, let's say you don't increase the input delay and you don't slow the game down. So in order to fix the lag and the players being a little bit out of sync, you just, okay, if you find out that the guy was, it thinks that he's a fourth of the way through his jump, but really he should have actually been halfway through his jump. It flickers him over to halfway through his jump, like he teleports there. And I believe that like that kind of thing is what's going on in CVS2 online,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems like totally the worst. But yeah, I'm sort of hinting at my opinions here, but there might be different opinions with other people who are working on this and implementing this stuff. And so if you can see what players think about is adding input delay acceptable, and like you're gonna have to accept some level of it, but where does it go wrong? Like is 2 frames okay? What about 6 frames? What about 6 frames of input delay, but the game is super smooth the whole time? Acceptable or not? I don't know. I'd like to see comments on things like that.
The not the last one, but the 2 in the middle. The game slowing down. I know a lot of people will say, "No, that's not acceptable," but there's slowdown in games all the time. I mean, there's slowdown in Marvel. When there's too much stuff going on the screen, it slows down. I mean, and people deal with it. It is. I think that that is not such a bad idea. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you're full of shit," but I really don't think so. I mean, people deal with slowdown in games all the time. I don't think it's so bad. Increasing the frames. Wow, I don't know. I've never seen that in action on a 2D game. Cause you said that.
Well, it's in action. It's in action on every game online. I mean, go play any of these games I mentioned: Street Fighter, Hyper Fighting, Mortal Kombat. All of them, they have input delay. It's just a question of how much do they have.
But the thing about it is, though, if you have input delay on while you're playing it, then to me that messes with your mind more than slowdown would. That messes with your timing more than anything else. I mean, slowdown.
I agree.
And so I mean, unanticipated slowdown. Why that would be like a bummer. I've been like, but that's something that I can readily accept because I deal with it on other games as well. So, but I'd rather have perfect input delay and have the game slow down on me every once in a while, then having an input more of an input delay and have the game not slow down, or be like the other one is have your character all of a sudden be at a different part of the screen because it's lagging. Both of those really affect the game more than just the game slowing down.
I was actually at work the other day, and we needed to just test a quick thing on Street Fighter Online, the Hyper Fighting, and so a lot of people got to see this little event. I was playing as Blanca, and the opponent was Chun-Li, and the opponent was not really very good, but did jump short a lot, like almost the whole round jump short, and that is a very good move against Blanca. So I mean, it was smart that he did that. But anyway, so the situation is that I see Chun-Li standing on the ground, and I'm completely sure that she's going to jump short at me. I mean, I know for sure. Here it comes, and then I see it coming. I see the jump. There it is. So I thought, well, I'm going to do Stand Fierce, and Stand Fierce sometimes will hit it cleanly, or maybe I could trade. It depends on a lot of things. But I think I was the right distance and about at the right time. So press Stand Fierce. I tried to do it a little early, and Chun-Li got all the way to me and hit me before the Fierce could even come out enough to hit because of the input delay. I press Fierce, and then nothing happens, and she keeps coming at me, and then finally the Fierce starts to come out. So it was a laggy connection,
right?
But that's something had to give, and when it was input delay, it was just a joke. What am I supposed to do?
No, see, that's the thing about it is, at least with slowdown, a slowdown is uniform. Everything is slowing down. So while a lot of timing of the move may not come out as you press it, though you still, or how can I explain it? I guess you can understand what I'm saying. You're still timing it the way that you wanted to time it had it been moving at the normal speed.
That's right. Because Chun-Li wouldn't have been able to get really far through the air before my move came out if the whole game were slower. She would, it would be slow, but my Fierce would start to come out at the beginning of her jump, just like you would expect, but in slow motion.
Right, and so I expect that to be I would say that I'm all for the slower gameplay. I need you guys that are there in the RC channel. They're talking about other bullshit. 666 Satanist group. Okay. Can we get
one
back?
last thing? Let me just say one last thing on that though. So seriously, guys, go play Mortal Kombat 2 because it has input delay,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it doesn't have slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an example where you could play it, and you might say, yeah, it has input delay, but it's so small that it's okay, and that method's okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might say, no, they went too far, and the input delay is so much that I would have rather had the game slow down. So I'd like to hear feedback on that.
That's true.
Play Mortal Kombat.
That's true. Maybe I was just thinking maybe it should be. Do you think that maybe it should be maybe a combination of both, depending on how bad the lag is?
Sure. I mean, I'm just giving these kind of pure cases to get to the heart of it.
Okay. I see what you're saying, and I will definitely look into doing that. So, but also I wanted to ask you, do you? You can't comment on that. I know you can't comment on that. Have Capcom has made any announcement as far as any sticks being available? Because after all, this is a fighting game.
I have no idea, but their live stick is on 360.
Yeah, hopefully Microsoft will do something. By the way, I tell people that Microsoft is as a fighting gamer's friend. I'm telling people out there, so if you one of the people, including myself, that do not have a 360, then let's all jump on the bandwagon and get one. Then I would definitely now be getting a 360 because not only would I like to play, the game obviously, but I also want to show my support. Because I'm sure I don't know all the financial behind it, but I have to believe that Microsoft is helping out with this in some type of way. Because it's a partnership between Microsoft and Capcom, and we want to make sure that partnership is a very fruitful partnership.
Well, Microsoft helps out on all games that are for its platform in some capacity.
Yeah. And I want this to be one of the more profitable and then more ones than their other ones. And why? Let me ask you a question, and this is a rather interesting question. Why do you think the hyper fighting was so successful, given the fact that this game is not even preferred by most of the hardcore Street Fighter? Why do you think this game was so? Because most people would probably tell you that this game will probably fail before the game was actually released, but it became the most profitable game for Microsoft. Why do you think that was the case?
I told them before they even launched it that if it sucked, it would still be the most popular game. Because, okay, I guess first of all, I'll disagree and say I think Hyper Fighting is awesome as a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's as good as Super Turbo. And I know actually Choi prefers Hyper Fighting as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, it has a hardcore following. Super Turbo I guess has more, but Hyper Fighting is a really, really good game. So that's one thing. But only the super hardcore people care about that. I think the average Joe out there remembers playing this. Remembers playing the Street Fighter 2 series in arcades a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And if they're able to recapture that in any way at all, then they're interested. So even like this substandard version that's out there is scratching an itch that people had. And, it was my position before any of this was done that there was this itch to be scratched and they could make a lot of money if they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, is it really true? Are people going to really buy it? And how much money can we put into it? So, it turns out that it was really popular. So,
wow.
Like I said before, now we can do more. And hopefully, I really, really hope that when we do a much better job, that the sales are correlated to that. Because if we do a much better job, but we sell the same or less, then why should they spend the money anymore?
But that's where the HD comes in, right? Because I'm sure that when this game is released, they're going to push the HD part of it because that's what separates it from any other game that's
right.
In there. So I think it's a great idea to do it in HD because there hasn't yet to be a 2D fighter that's ever been in HD. So, in my mind, I have no idea what to expect this game to look like. By the way, I know this is already covered by Capcom, but how can I ask this and not be breaching the non-disclosure? The stages are going to be redone along with all the artwork. So does that mean that you guys have more latitude? Because what I'm saying is, you know what Guile's stage look like, or Ken's stage look like. So does it necessarily have to be an exact replica of what it was on that stage, just in HD, or do you have more latitude where you can say, let's do something that will look like that? In a sense, it's the same type of venue, but not exactly what it is in Super Turbo. I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
No, I know what you're asking. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to let Capcom answer that. They've basically said they want the old game redone. So we'll kind of leave it to your imagination what that might mean.
Right. And which, well, I mean, it can mean either or. I mean, it can mean that, hey, okay, they're going to allow you to remake the game, but because you know what, a lot of by the way, we do want to post one other suggestion, even for the Arcade Perfect mode.
Okay. Oh yeah. But, by the way, I know I said some weird things about. Why do I care about it? Why does anybody care about being arcade perfect? But also, I should be clear. Like, yes, we're trying to make it arcade perfect. So I really am. So don't think that I'm not. So go ahead.
Is it? Would you say that it would be a good idea? We thought one of the most underappreciated features ever in any Capcom fighting game was the color edit mode in CVS2, and I would love for. What do we need to do to get this in front of the people that will get it to the people that will make the final decision? Because I honestly think this will be a fantastic way of marketing the game, and it's a great way to customize your character without drawing new sprites or having outfits like Virtual Fighter or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how many colors were in Street Fighter 2?
Two? No, that was one. There was only one color in Street Fighter 2. Oh, I mean you mean Super Turbo?
How many colors are in the sprite of the Street Fighter 2 series? How many colors are in each sprite? 16 colors? How many colors are in the sprite of the HD version? Well, it's going to be a lot more colors that are in the sprite of the HD version.
Right.
Right.
So I'm going to say,
I don't know. Think about how to what that even means, or how is color edit mode going to work when there's a lot of colors. I know you're thinking of like the blocky pixels where you just like fill in one of 16 different regions.
But you guys don't necessarily have to make it. You know what? I would even go as far as to say I would think that most people would take a loss in color if it means that we're able to customize it.
Oh, I see.
That's what I would think that a lot of people will feel that way, because I think it's a great way to actually, because then when the game comes out, Capcom can say, look what we done with the color edit mode, and then Ryu comes out with a shadow and the face is all black and everything, and even if they could do something with the eyes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like 300 and different things that you can actually edit the color on. I mean, if it's just, if you just do the outfit, the hair, and the eyes, or for a headband for a couple people, hey, that'd be good enough for me. Okay. And of course the skin color as well. I mean, obviously people will probably want to edit that as well.
But the skin color itself, a lot of colors in it.
Oh, that's true. But I would think that. I was like I was saying before. Maybe you could think about this or see how it goes when you guys actually start working on the design models for the game. That hey, I would say that most people will be willing to take a loss in color if it means customization.
Well, I mean, you can suggest all these things, and they'll be read.
Mm-hmm.
So sure.
Okay.
I mean, you know some things about what you're getting. You're getting the original game with as hopefully arcade perfect or as close as it can be, with new graphics, and then there's other things that have not been announced and are unknown, and that's anything on top of that. So, color edit mode is one thing.
By the way, I wanted to. I'm sorry.
So wait, one more thing is you should think about like if you know what the base game is going to be like,
right?
And then you want extra things, then what are the most important extra things? If you can only have one or two or three, if you only have a small number, like what's at the top of the list?
Arrange mode at the top of the list.
Okay, well, so that that's not just for me, but for everyone involved at Capcom and Backbone. It's interesting to see people's takes on that. So if your answer is, if I can only have one thing, it would be arrange mode. And maybe if you could have two things, like what would that be? And if you could have just three, then what makes the third cut? So like I don't know. For you, maybe music didn't even make the top three, but for other people, it seems like it did.
I mean, truth to be told, I would think that an arrange mode, a color edit mode, and a music mode, I would think that there'd be a lot. I think a lot of people would be happy with that. Of course, you always get the couple few that will complain, but shoot, I mean, I think that I would be tickled pink, literally. I would tell you this much: if there's a color edit mode, I am going to make my own personal Dan version of Ryu. All right, he's going to have a pink G. It's going to be top tier though. It's going to be good. All right, it's going to be a good pink.
Okay.
But no, I mean, but yeah, to me, I'm you know what? Maybe we can generalize it more. Maybe have two separate threads. One is about networking, as we just talked about, and the other one is if we can only decide to have 3 new features in the game, then what would those 3 would be? And then I would basically talk with people and just have them pace up with what would your 3 do. Remember now, nothing that's out, that's out of nothing that's impractical, but something that you think that they can actually do in the time that they have allowed it and the resources they have allowed it. But I would think that I really can't wait, to see the finished product. I think it's something to be very excited about. And if anything, but you know what? Even I'm a Guilty Gear fan, and I know this is great news because, hey, now I mean, for the first time, and I think the first time ever since the Guilty Gear really took off, has Guilty Gear ever had any serious competition? I know this is only online, but still, it's a competition nonetheless. Although it remains to be seen if it actually comes out in Japan, but. We'll see on that. By the way, you said there's been things that have not been announced for the game.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Right,
I didn't mean it like it's in my pocket and I'm just not telling you or something.
Right.
I mean, did Capcom say anything about color edit mode? No, they didn't. So as far as you know, it doesn't exist, and you can put it on your list of like, well, it'd be nice to have if we could have 1 or 2 or 3 things. That's all I mean.
Right. Can I ask you this in this way? Is there anything that we don't know that you think we would like once it is known?
No, I mean it's like I told you, I'm working on Puzzle Fighter, so a lot's known about Puzzle Fighter.
So I should ask you that later. All right. So but hopefully the answer is yes. I mean, because the thing about it is, I know a lot of people are very impatient about wanting to know all they can about the game, but I am willing to be in the dark as long as I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So
I just wish you guys were bigger Puzzle Fighter fans because it's going to be awesome.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. Puzzle Fighter, I have never played it. I don't even have any idea how to play Puzzle Fighter, and maybe that might be something to keep in mind. I don't know how you would incorporate that, but there's going to be a vast majority of people that have never played Puzzle Fighter, so maybe like you did like the whole mode on there. I forgot what you would call it. I mean, CCC2. You get that strategy part of it. Maybe it'd be good to have a beginner strategy guide for Puzzle Fighter for those who have never touched the game before, like me.
Yeah, there's something that's built into the game that tells you how to play, but I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
You mean a much more like my style tutorial.
Yeah, we loved it, and I learned so much new shit by watching that tutorial that I was like, "You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me, right?" And but Alex wants to know, Alex Valle, he wants to know is the diamond trick still in Puzzle Fighter? What? I don't know what he means. I don't even know if you can comment, but
No, I mean I'm not supposed to comment, but it's already announced that there's a original mode.
mm-hmm.
So the goal is like arcade perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
Right.
seems like we should probably offer diamond trick on off in that mode just so you can fuck with it. And no details yet on the rebalance mode, but I'll turn it around and say I'm happy to hear what you guys want to do. If you want the diamond trick or not, or some halfway solution or something.
Now I'm getting a lot of. This is interesting. I got hardly no questions about ST because all the questions I asked you were basically from me. People, I don't think he can really answer these questions. They're asking really specific questions. Like Alex wants to know, how does the new mode regulate overpowered characters like Ken and Donovan? I mean, I don't even know if you can really go into specifics on that. But.
Well, the goal is to change it up so that all characters are on a pretty much level playing field. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just Ken and Donovan anymore.
Right, and I should ask, what would you like? Would you like to see in the arranged mode?
Yeah, I mean the arranged mode of Puzzle Fighter is a lot easier to deal with than Street Fighter. Street Fighter is like very complicated stuff is going on under the hood. But Puzzle Fighter is a puzzle game, so
right. I mean,
modified more.
And I'm interested. I'm definitely going to play both games. I'm sorry though. When I turn it on, I'm going to go straight to Super Turbo because I just got to see it and I got to play it. By the way, one thing that I don't know have Capcom has addressed. So if you can't say anything about it, I apologize for asking. But what about the sound? Not the music, but the sounds.
Yeah, I can't really comment. I mean, they didn't announce anything about it.
That's really odd. Okay, I mean, you can announce. I could take that as an answer. I mean, so you cannot confirm or deny that that some of the sounds might be re-recorded or again, though, if it is decided, Oh, sorry.
Well, that's on the list of things that are not announced. So you can put it in your same thread of: do you want new music? Do you want arranged mode? Do you want sound effects to be different? If so, how? How just get people to prioritize it. How important is that?
By the way, I would say that people out there do not put this as one of the options. I really can give two shits of whether or not they decided to use new sound. I mean, I was just saying it for the sake of knowledge, but please don't put this as one of the top 3 people. I mean, come on, people, let's be. We want something. We want something that we all been crying for. Hearing a Ken say "Sure You Can" differently is not one of them. Okay, people, let's keep that in mind. So let's not get them bogged down with superfluous bullshit. Okay, thank you. All right. But no, by the way, Super Perfect Puzzle Fight, is this also going to be in 1080p?
Yeah, that's in 1080p.
This is nice. It's kind of sad though because I still have all the TVs that support 1080p. They're still ridiculously expensive. So,
well, play it in 720p or something. It'll still look good.
I was just going to ask you that because I wasn't sure whether Capcom announced if it's just going to be 1080p or is it just going to be for 720p and 1080p.
All Microsoft games must support all modes.
Oh, okay. Well,
in fact,
there you go.
All Microsoft games must be viewable in every single video mode that the Xbox supports currently and will support in the future. So, it will. I mean, the image will come up on the screen and it will work. The only question is what method is being used to display it and how it's being scaled. So a lot of games, so right now on Xbox Live, there's a lot of games that were designed for, let's say, the 720p mode. But if you set, how do I put it? They'll use hardware scaling to display it in 1080p.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference here is that this game is like designed at 1080p, and it's going to use hardware scaling to go the other way. So, if you have the highest quality monitor or whatever, then it's going to look the best possible. Whereas there's some other games that if you had the highest quality monitor, it will not look any better than if you had a 720p monitor.
By the way, has anyone ever talked to you, going away from Puzzle Fighter for a second, has anyone ever talked to you about a custom character mode?
Custom character mode in Puzzle Fighter?
No, in Super Turbo.
In like to build your own character?
Yeah, now the thing about it is, that's a very general. I know that's a very general question. Like, how far do you want to take the customization? Because I'm not sure how that will work. I mean, I would need, for those of you who just mentioned it, and Alex, how would you best implement that and not be something that's overly complicated and will take too much of time to do?
It's implemented in Guilty Gear Isuka. And there's a character called Robokai 2, not to be confused with a regular Robokai, because Robokai 2, you can build him and put any moves you want from the whole game on him. And so then you might ask, well, how do they do that? Because it's a 2D game.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I pick Saul's uppercut? And, how is Robokai going to do Saul's uppercut? Does he flicker into Saul during the uppercut?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no. They redrew every single move in the entire game as if Robokai were doing it. And it was like the most enormous undertaking. I can't imagine why they spent all that money on that. And then what's even, crazier is that let's say that you have totally bought into this and you love it, and you just love Robokai 2. Okay, and so you're all into what moves he's going to have, and you're customizing your guy. Well, how do you, does it just let you do anything, right from the start? No, you've got to earn the ability to get all those moves. You got to get, experience points, to unlock them. And how do you get the experience points? Well, the only way is you play this one-player mode that's kind of like Final Fight. It's a side-scroller. Mm-hmm. And in the normal Guilty Gear game, if you hold up on the joystick, the character jumps. But in Final Fight, if you hold up on the joystick, the character walks into the screen, And so that's the kind of game they made. So it has different controls, and there's a jump button in the single-player mode, which isn't in the normal game. Anyway, you got to play this, crazy, screwed-up single-player game and then grind it forever to unlock all the points to build your Robokai 2. And then once you do all that, the gameplay in Asuka sucks anyway, and it was just the biggest waste of money ever in that game. But my point is that if you want to see a character customization in a fighting game, in a 2D fighting game, there it is.
So, by the way, I am mistaken. I guess they meant Puzzle Fighter. I'm sorry, not Super Turbo.
Well, in Puzzle Fighter, the Dreamcast version had a color edit mode, and you could make your own drop patterns. So it's certainly possible.
You know what? By the way, I do have a suggestion for the arrange mode. Although I don't know if this warrants being in the top 3, but if it was done, I think a lot of people would be pretty happy about it. But I don't really want to spoil it for the people, just in case if it ever does get included, or just in case they already decided they are going to include it. Dave, I'm gonna shoot your email, and I'm gonna tell you what my suggestion is for the range mode, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, what the heck is what the heck is what I'm thinking about? But it's pretty cool. But I don't know if I would be willing to sacrifice a color edit mode for this. But I would sacrifice this for music. I actually would sacrifice this for music, but because the idea is really kind of cool if they actually do it, and if anyone wants a hint of what I'm thinking of, Think EGM in 1996 and what they did for April's Fools. Then you have an idea of what I'm thinking about and what I want them to put into the arranged mode and why it would be so fitting given that it is the 20th anniversary of Street Fighter this year. Can you guess
this arranged mode is pretty advanced, don't you? We're adding some pretty major features there.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, at some point, people are very easily bored, and I wanted to because this arrange mode, I really want to. My charge to you is like whenever you guys talk about the arrange mode more, is to make it's like, hey, I know this is not in the original funding, but I would like to see. I would like to see how would I put this? I would like to see that the arrange mode has not quite a few, but 2 or 3 notable, really good features, new features, so it will keep people playing. And also, I would like to see that if it is a monster success, which I do think it will be, that they will allow for you to, maybe update the game at some point down the line. I know that's not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Just reminded me of another tension here about why it's hard to accept suggestions for an arrange mode because, so let's say that hardcore players got together and they knew all of the best little tiny tweaks that would make the game just so much more balanced. And let's say they were even thoughtful about making all of them easy to implement. So that sounds great, right? That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be, it's totally better balanced than ever.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
So if that's the case, then like casual Joe is not even going to notice the game's different. He won't even be able to detect the difference that he's in arranged mode or not, if that's all that's changed. If only these tiny little like recoveries of this move and that move, and this, if there is so much effort put into this arranged mode, it seems like it should be fun for everyone. It's fun for the hardcore tournament player and the random guy who's not so good too. But in order to do that, that's exactly what you're getting at, is that you want something that's really noticeable, something that catches people's imagination or their attention. And in order to do that, you have to know exactly what the tech is about what we can and can't do. So how can you accept like ideas about super flashy things that'll catch everyone's attention and have any idea if they can be implemented?
Right.
It's a tough situation, is what I'm saying.
Right, and I would go, because I understand that, because, today in class, not class, but, I went to a class at my job. I work for Bank of America now. And, and the regional manager, made a charge to us that we need to look at things from a customer's perspective, not from someone who actually is in on the inside of it. So we do have to realize, so when we're suggesting things, then we need to be conscious of whether or not this will benefit everyone involved, and especially the people that don't play this game religiously like we do, or is it just going to benefit us? So if it's more inclined to benefit everyone, because imagine that you're in front of a Capcom exec who makes the final decision on this, and you're making a case for this. I mean, would you want to say, well, we want a quicker recovery so it's going to make the game more balanced? Because he's going to ask, okay, what does this mean for people who knew Joe Blow who've never played Street Fighter before, or only played it like once in the past 10 years? Or
even that he plays it occasionally, like every month he plays it like a few games and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like the far extreme people that hardly touch it, but even just casual players that really do play. It seems like they should get something too. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would think if I were the executive in charge of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that give me something that's gonna like I said before, that everybody's gonna like. The hardcore people are gonna say it's totally awesome and thoughtful, and the casual people are gonna notice something too. But
okay.
I don't know the answers to any of this stuff, and we're not there yet. But just everybody should think about that. And that same concept too. You remind me of I said a networking thread would be helpful about what is acceptable and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that in this thread, everybody goes and plays Mortal Kombat 2, and then they tell me, no, it's not acceptable. Like, we don't like that kind of networking. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Maybe I don't even know. I haven't even hardly tested it. So
what does this talk about Mortal Kombat 2? What, they released the game or something?
Yeah, it just came out, and it's like a data point. You know, they did it a certain way, and is it acceptable or not? And I would like to know that.
Mortal Kombat 2?
Well, it just came out, so it's a new game. It's a new release.
For what system?
Xbox 360.
Wow. I was thinking Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 all this time. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't realize you said Mortal Kombat 2. I'm like, what?
No, I said very, very specifically that Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 already came out a long time ago, and that it has totally different networking than Mortal Kombat 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to play both of them, or you got to have people out there play both of them and tell me, is one of them okay? Is one of them better? Are they both fine? Do they both suck? Like, what can we learn from that? But my point was, let's say everybody plays Mortal Kombat 2 and they come back and say it's not acceptable. And I'm not saying they're going to say that, but just hypothetically, if they all say that, we suffer from the same thing we were talking about a second ago, where maybe some executive, Oh, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up?
Oh, that's Alex is on here now.
Oh shit, you guys can hear me? Alright, cool. Finally got the shit working.
No, but go ahead. What you were saying, Dave.
I was saying maybe some executive would hear about that and they would say, well, that doesn't matter because only the most hardcore people were involved in that, and that's not who we're selling to. We're selling to everybody, and I don't know what the answer to that is. All I can say is the more people you can get to participate in talking about which games have lag that's okay and not okay, the more data we'll have and the better off we'll be.
Alex, actually, you said you played MK2 or you downloaded it? Have you played it yet?
I just downloaded it today.
And
I played one match and I didn't see any lag. Honestly, man, okay, Mortal Kombat, it might have a lag. It's probably a lag responsive game anyways. But,
yeah, right.
Yeah, but like every Mortal Kombat that's been online, you can basically call it lag free. You barely see any lag whatsoever. MK2, I played like a couple matches, and I mean, the game seems like, if you remember the MK series, it's not that responsive anyways. Unlike Street Fighter, you push a short, you get a short like instantly, right? Mortal Kombat, you push a low jab, and here comes his little awkward, funky, looking punch coming out, and it's the same. It reacts the same online. So basically, I played all versions of MK Online, from MK6, Armageddon. I played that one. I played at Wizard's House Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I didn't even see any lag. Which Ultimate Mortal Kombat is, by the hardcore gamers, is the best version of Mortal Kombat.
And you didn't notice any lag when you was playing that?
I mean, yeah, there's some connections that is pretty bad, but for the most part, every connection is pretty good, actually. Just for Mortal Kombat alone, in my experience with these online fighting games. Like, when you go to Street Fighter, that's a whole different story, man. I mean,
So, Dave, on Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, do you know where does it fall as far? Is this the one where the input delay is the same? No, they don't actually increase it, but the game slows down, or how does this really fall? Do you know?
For Mortal Kombat 2, I'm 100% sure that if you play offline and like press a button and see when that move comes out, and then you play online, that it's different. I know for a fact that there's input delay. But the question is the input delay small enough that it doesn't matter and it's okay and it's still playable? And so it sounds like Alex is saying, yeah, it seems fine. But then Alex is also correct in saying that even if you played the game offline with no input delay, it's just the whole game is like different than Street Fighter, and so it's sort of hard to judge because it's sluggish to begin with.
So, but Alex, in your view, since you are a Street Fighter champion, what would you rather see? Would you like to see where the game has more input delay, but the game still moves smoothly, or the input delay does not change and the game just slows down when there's lag? What would you rather see? For someone who has played.
Have you tried Dead or Alive also?
Yeah, I've tried that, and Dead or Alive is like, I thought it'd have the best chance to, even with some input delays, that it's playable, but that it's not. They did a horrible job on Dead or Alive, in my opinion. But to answer your question, Ben, like, it's pretty difficult because online we can only work with what resources these guys have, whatever servers, the bandwidth, all the tangibles you have there, dude. You can't have the best right now. I mean, we don't have the technology to have it running that fast. So, like, I'm playing first-person shooters now, and the biggest thing that I learned from this first-person community world is, they say the more lag the game has, and the way you kill people determines the skill you have.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't implement that on Street Fighter. We can't implement that on fighting games because it's complete. It's like each attack is vital for the timing, and it's random. And I mean, you'll be missing hella hits, like all types of hits. You're not even playing Street Fighter anymore. You play Anticipation Fighter, and it's frustrating. On a shooter, you shoot someone, you might miss, or you might hit them and they're dead. Objective done. No harm, no foul. You're satisfied with that.
Right.
You won't be satisfied with that in a fighter, because out of your 5-hit combo, only 3 of them comes out, and it could have killed the guy. Or you could have uppercut the guy on wake up, but some kind of a lag sprite happened and you're screwed. And you just face the whole man, I could have, would have, should have, but it is what it is.
But wouldn't it be better? I'm sorry.
Our networking people do completely agree with you that fighting games are the hardest thing you could try to do with lag online. So, yeah.
But you know what I would say to that? Because honestly, I learned so much from the first-person community that, like, you would have to... Okay, since there's so many new people that are completely oblivious to the other little versions of Street Fighter that came out from the mid-90s to 2001, you gotta market online like, yeah, we've played online tournaments for a long time now, and they're like the norm. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is, all old school people like me, Sirlin, Choi, anybody else, we should just kind of like, let the little kids play the online, dude. Market them, because they don't know how it was back then. There's no arcades anymore. They can't see that. And they're not going to have enough time to actually call their buddy over and, test out, like, hey, you know what, this actually comes out a second earlier. You know what, just market a whole different type of genre of people, a different player base. Like, there's only going to be an online playing community, too. They won't travel to tournaments. They can only play online, just like first-person shooter clans. Some of them can't travel outside of their home. They got to stay there.
Hey, Alex gave me an idea just now. So you're going to have this thread where people say their priorities about things that are beyond the base game. How much do they want music versus the range mode and all that. So why don't you add, as another thing people could put on their rankings, is how much do they care about an online tournament mode?
I see. By the way, I got some corrections. Some people are telling me that they will not. They would not want to take a loss in color in order to have a color edit mode. So then I would say in response to that, if that's the feeling of the majority, then maybe like for certain things that don't require a whole lot of color, be available for customization. Like for Ryu, his headband, his chi outfit would be customizable, and I know that's not what I had in mind, but I guess something's better than nothing at all.
I mean, if he has like a green outfit, he might have 100 shades of green in it, though.
Right. And then of course you can have a different color for the I don't know what you call that wraps around it and his waist, the rope, whatever you call it, but I don't know.
The belt.
I guess a belt. Okay,
the karate belt, man.
Karate belt. All right, it's a karate belt.
French, you could just use the word belt.
I'm like belt.
You're learning a foreign language or something.
I had a brain for it. I had a freaking brain for it. But let me ask you something, Alex. But wouldn't it be better though if you're playing Street Fighter online? And I know, but wouldn't it be better though that your inputs, your input delay does not change, but just that, let's say you are doing a Wake Up Dragon Punch, and the game slows down, but because the computer remembers exactly when the timing of it, even though it slows down, it still does the Wake Up Dragon Punch at the point that you wanted to do it.
here's an important factor to know about this. There are matches where you can play somebody for 10 games, and in those 10 games, you're going to learn the lag. But versus if you're jumping into an online tournament match, and you have to learn the lag within, 3, 5 rounds, whatever, good luck. You see my point?
Yeah. I see your point. I think I agree with it too, but I like tournaments.
Yeah, I like tournaments too. But you know what? We love each other, bro. It's the people above us who they want to make money off of. And there's not many of us left. So, it's going to go to the other people.
By the way, everyone is unanimous on the online tournaments. Do it, get it done, do whatever you have to do. Online tournament, because if anything, I'm sorry.
Post it up. Let Capcom and everybody know what the priorities are.
Okay.
Pretty much. And also, if they got a new Street Fighter game that's online playable, an idea is not to have the leaderboards online is cool and all, but it's not right. It's like there's somebody's cheating or somewhat, whatever. Everybody should report their wins on the site. With have two people, the guy reports that he lost, or the guy reports that he won, and post it on, and then you would actually get real boards. You know what I'm saying? That's like a problem in the first-person community.
I'm
and
lost
some,
too.
Like Gears of War and shit like that. People have been boosting their scores to get up. You understand?
Well, yeah, I understand people like gaming the system and being too high, but what's the solution?
Well, I'm saying solution have a dedicated site just for the leaderboards instead of the actual, because people can mod their scores onto the online leaderboards. You understand? Online from, say if you turn on your Xbox 360 and we're playing Hyper Fighter, and yeah, I was one of the first persons to play it, and I should have all the wins, but then here you got little Johnny just boosting his score somehow, and then his rank is way above mine. How the hell does that happen?
I don't get it though. How would that work though? Because wouldn't that all the information be saved on the server and not on the actual hard drive of the player? I don't understand. How could they boost their scores? I mean, other than just beating up people that don't know how to play.
No, by mods. There's special mods where you can I don't know how they do it. All these hackers and shit, but. I mean, they'll probably be able to hack into the leaderboard site anyways, but it's just an idea, because a lot of people do want to know where they rank. And then there's no official leaderboards besides what's online. Everybody goes on a forum and posts like, hey, you know what? Even though I'm ranked like 128, I should be at least top 5, seriously. All these first to 100, they either have like 24 hours of no life, or they're modding or something, and there's no real solution to see where they lie. You always see some guy at rank 70 that's really, really good, but he can't get to like 69, dude, until he plays like 500 more matches or some crap like that. So you're kind of thinking something's up.
Well, Microsoft has helped a little bit there. I mean, not like with us personally, but just in general with their True Skill system. I think their True Skill name is very much the wrong name.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I laughed at that.
I think it should be called like True Average Performance over a lot of games or something, as opposed to True Skill. Like if you care about who's the best, it's garbage. But if you care about like getting a pretty good match, like just for matchmaking purposes, it's pretty good and pretty accurate, and it's very sophisticated. So if you fight somebody that's like way shittier than you get like hardly any points. And I mean that's just the most basic thing, but it also like can look at how often do you play the same person. Like you played 100 games, well, we're 70 of them against one guy, because those are not going to count for a lot. You have to play a wide variety of opponents, and
right.
And their matchmaking system gives you a wide variety of opponents. It doesn't it doesn't give you the same guy over and over, and you can't even choose your opponents in a ranked match ever. So that sort of thing helps. And then DOA put like a really cool feature in, I thought, is that even though it has like some fairly good algorithms about like the rank to begin with, to expose people who somehow like cheated it, there's a separate leaderboard. It's like the integrity leaderboard, and it rates you like how likely is it that you're a cheater. Yeah, and it's based on like how many, like if you play the same people over and over again, then you're totally suspect.
Oh,
So
okay, that's awesome. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like,
I
aside
really
from
like
what
that.
I was talking about.
By the way, I just wanted to mention something. I mean, maybe this is outside of the scope, but as long as you're gonna do online tournaments, then like maybe there should be like a bracket mode where if someone wants to throw their own tournament, all the people join in, and then the computer automatically makes brackets, and then you can you can choose between single or double elimination and all that stuff.
Again, I think DOA has that.
Oh, really?
I never actually used it, but I'm pretty sure it does.
And I said, but that would be actually pretty cool. So, I mean, to me, what I've gotten so far out of this is that the top 3 things I have seen so far would be, obviously, the arrange mode is first, and then second, an online tournaments, official and player created, I would say. And for the third is a little bit. Oh, and I guess the lag issue will be number 3, right? Making sure that the online playability is.
I'm sure that's kind of assumed in the base package, I think.
I consider the lag nowadays as part of the system. You just have to. It is what it is, and if there's lag, you're gonna have to adjust to it. Kind of like if somebody has a super, you're gonna have to adjust to it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I guess I'm kind of happy to hear that Alex thought Mortal Kombat 2 is okay, because I'm pretty sure I can promise it would not be worse than Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, that's good.
No, because Mortal Kombat, it's not bad, right?
No, it isn't. It isn't bad at all, because if you're used to Mortal Kombat back in the days, I mean, we start playing that thing and we're mashing the button really fast to make sure to try to get these buttons come out faster. But they don't come out any faster. If that, they come, at a blah 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 rate, and then you play this thing online, and it's like, I don't see any difference. Tight, right? But Street Fighter, you can tell immediately, like, hey, where's my short? Oh, there it is. You might put short 3 times, only 2 of them come out, but like, hey, what the hell?
Well, to me, I rather, like I said, I rather the game to slow down and the short comes out, and it comes out at the frame it's supposed to, rather than it skips frames or all of a sudden the short comes out, 20 minutes later when get me killed, or something like that. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel about it.
I mean, maybe a hybrid solution is okay, where it's like you accept some input delay, and if the lag doesn't get too bad, then it's just always that input delay, which is is pretty low, and there's no slowdown. And then if there is more lag, that at some point it's like the input delay would just be too great. So instead of adding even more, you slow it down. And so it's like a mixed case. So in a good match, it would actually be like Mortal Kombat, only even less input delay. And then in a medium match, it would be exactly like Mortal Kombat. And in a bad match, it would be like Mortal Kombat with some slowdown. That's one possible way.
That would be. You know what? I was just thinking about that. On like hyper fighting, can you hook 2 Xbox 360s together and play online through
locally?
Like play online locally? I guess I don't know how else to say it. Like just not on the same TV. That's not true.
Well, yeah, you can.
If you got 2 TVs, then sure.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking for Evolution, it wouldn't be kind of cool if
Are you going to enforce lag? Going to make people play with lag?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, what better way? Now, it's like, it'd be kind of cool if, like, everything is, like, computerized. Like, hey, okay, well, then, because, you always got people complaining about rigging the brackets and shit like that. Well, you can't be complaining because computer does it now. I didn't program the computer to put you, playing against such and such, even though you guys from the same town, and hey. There you go.
I gotta tell you, Bunk, that's one of the worst ideas I've heard.
No, I'm just kidding.
If you've seen us try to even connect a laptop at Evolution, like to the internet, oh my God, there's always a million issues with these locations and trying to get on the internet. It's always fucked up. So trying to get like 50 Xbox 360s on the internet wouldn't even be possible, probably.
But
wow, dude, 2 bad words in the same night, Sirlin.
But right, you know
bro?
what?
Wow.
I don't even remember what I said.
Dave, you said fuck earlier.
I just wanted to ask you something though. I was asking. I misunderstood what you guys said. I meant like create it as a LAN, not put it on the internet and then. But I mean, is it possible to link to Xbox on a LAN and then play and just basically make an intranet?
You can do that if the game supports it. But I mean, most games don't.
Okay, I mean, I'll take that. And what do you think about that idea, Alex, of being able to create a local area network?
Why don't you play on the same screen?
No, it's not on fighting games, but on first-person shooters, they do that all the time.
Right.
But, yeah, exactly.
Right. It's just.
Do it all the time.
But it would alleviate because you guys know how it is when you go over someone's house, you're all crowded around the same damn TV. I mean, like I said, it'd be kind of cool if you can have 2 or 3 TVs in the house, like in the case of Preppy.
Well, you should test how bad the lag is. It shouldn't be that bad because it's like locals right there.
Right. It's basically a local area connection, has nothing to do with the internet. It's just straight from one Xbox 360 to another. And I would think that something like that would be pretty useful, and it would definitely be useful on a wider scale in case that there won't be a tournament on there, and then they could just let the system make the brackets instead of them like making write out paper, and then they can just play intranet LAN matches, just like what they do on first-person shooters, where they're not on the internet; it's an intranet. So I would just say, why not apply that to games? Because lag would be an issue, but not nearly as much as it would be on the internet, and it's just something that people have to adapt to. And it would be a constant. It won't be as if there'll be lag spikes, So people will adapt to it, and I will assume that it would work. What do you think, Sirlin?
Well. Sure, put it on your list of priorities. You want that more than a range mode and music and so on.
You beaten. Yes, I would want that more than the music. Yes, but there you go. I just thought that would be a cool idea. Maybe that's just something that's superfluous, but I thought it would be a cool idea.
Well, I actually got to go and work on my other job. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey. First, let me tell you thanks for coming on and doing this interview with us, and we really wish you the best on that, and I hope to hear more from you soon. Hopefully, that maybe later on, months down the line, you may be able to say more on it.
Yeah. And I told you I'm. Just like last time, I was preoccupied with this, and now I'm preoccupied with something in the future. So, hopefully, when you ask me in a few months, I'll be able to tell you what it was that we're also doing now.
Well, then, just like last time, I would ask you whatever you're preoccupied with now, with the addition of the Super Turbo product. Do you think it's a project that will interest the fighting game community?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the following 2 things. Number 1 has nothing to do with Capcom, and number 2, it could be the most incredible thing to happen to the fighting game genre. So, yes, I think they'd be interested.
Okay, well,
there's more companies out there than just Capcom.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I know what you're talking
about. I have an idea too. All right. Well, you know what? Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and let you go. And thanks for coming on. I wish you the best, of course. And we really do appreciate what you're doing for us.
Okay. And I guess my last words would be, of course, my first love is Capcom, and I love working on Street Fighter and Puzzle Fighter and whatever else they have. Mm-hmm. So if I could just write my own ticket, it would be at Capcom to go a lot farther than they've done so far.
Well, we're going to show our support, so that's exactly what will happen. So.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
No problem. Take it easy.
Later, sir.
All Okay, well, start those threads, and I'll see you guys later.
All right. Hey,
Okay.
Dave. Do you want us to start
Yep.
those threads on SRK, or should we put those on Capcom, or do both?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I read SRK more than Capcom Sports.
Well, we talked to Congressman Killian or what, dude?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say is, okay, I would just do both. It doesn't hurt. So
Maybe you'll get different answers on both. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, man.
All right.
Take
Catch
it
you
easy.
later. Bye.
All right.
Mr. Ben.
Mr. Alex, what's going on, my friend?
Bro, I wanted to talk last week, but I couldn't because it was my birthday week. I wanted to talk earlier this week, but freaking kind of trying to get over this fucking cold.
Everybody's sick, but me. But I'm trying to keep it that way.
Yeah, dude, because, pussy's not throwing around your nose all day long. I'm kidding, dude.
Damn.
I'm kidding, dude. I'm saying there's a lot of pollutants out there. But,
by the way, while we're talking, why don't you type to me on AIM what you thought he was talking about?
Oh. I can just tell you. Not about, what company exactly, but,
Wait, okay, what do you think he was...
I mean, I'm pretty sure he's called up all the fighting, all different fighting companies. Sega, it's from the Virtua Fighter, Guilty Gear, from the SNK, maybe, you know what I'm saying?
But why would he say this would be the most incredible thing ever?
The most incredible thing ever? If it's to the generic player, God. I mean, other than having his hands on putting total control on a game that we all know, other than the Street Fighter game, that or fucking getting some kind of complete sponsorship from one of these companies, like sponsoring players and shit like that we discussed. Greatest thing ever, right? What else would entice a player so much from playing a fighting game, other than Street Fighter 4 to come out? What would you like to see come out that would just make your balls go, oh my god, they're bigger?
But he said it has nothing to do with Capcom.
Yeah, it's not Capcom. That's why I said besides Street Fighter 4, since that's like the only thing we're waiting for from Capcom.
The only thing that I can see him, the reason why he say it'd be the best thing ever is if it is a comic fighting game.
Comic?
Mm-hmm. So Marvel or DC. Fighting game. Not done by Capcom.
Well, if he's got the rights to the Marvel and, maybe another comic magazine. DC, maybe?
Yeah, I mean...
Marvel versus DC? What's up?
I mean, they can't. Well, Marvel versus DC would be top notch, and yes, that would be the most incredible thing ever, wouldn't it?
Pretty much, exactly. Well, I mean, to America, United States fighting game scene, because I guess that would be done. That would be a good game piece. No need for it. If that was definitely. Yeah, no, honestly. In this country, Marvel's still like the most played fighting game out here.
Right.
From like the top players to somebody that only plays it in their 7-Eleven or whatever, their pizza parlor.
People, it has nothing to do with Capcom. So it cannot be Capcom versus whatever. Alright, people. It can't be Street Fighter 4. It can't be Sammy versus Capcom. It can't be none of that. It has nothing to do with Capcom. The only thing I can think of, DC versus Marvel, do it. And the thing about it is, if he's working on it and he knows how Marvel plays,
I mean, he has everything in his power from the perfect portfolio of how this is gonna sell from the Marvel series, from the lifespan of the very first, was it X-Men, Street Fighter, or before that even the Marvel superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
And you timeline it to how much money it made in coin op, how much money it made in every console, you know, and people trying to like, you know, burn it and shit, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the easiest thing to sell, right?
Well, but the thing about it is, I don't know how profitable it was on console because everybody freaking bootlegged the disc, except a few people. I mean, yeah, I mean, arcade-wise, I'm sure almost every arcade had it. I think Marvel vs. DC would fit in line what he says because working on Guilty Gear, I mean, I don't see any other non-Capcom related game that will get the community up in such a roar other than DC versus Marvel or some derivative of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably like way off or whatnot, but
I doubt it. I actually doubt it.
But we agree though. It's something. It's something a lot of gamers here would be really excited about because let's honestly take a real good fucking look. Street Fighter 4 comes out. Who's gonna play it? Everybody's gonna try to play it. We're gonna weed out the people that can't play it within a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Virtua Fighter 5, same results, dude. Nobody fucking gonna play it unless it's just the OGs. Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to learn like the basics of that game. You know, it's gonna take me a while, but shit. Exactly as I called, dude. Not that many people are gonna freaking play it. And you call it out too. Nobody called me to practice. You know? Nobody called it, except, you know, the OGs like LA Akira. He always calls me for these gatherings, but he lives like an hour and some things away from me, dude. And that's really hard for me to get over there. So, honestly, bro, the OGs, bro, are holding us down on moving forward for these freaking games, dude. Only the young kids. We have to really get these young kids going, dude. They don't know what the old Street Fighter was, so we got to give them something completely fucking flashy, dude.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but people say does Capcom has a DC license. Actually, I have found that was actually incorrect, or at least that wording is incorrect. So I thought when I lost Chaz, because he asked me, he's like, "Are you sure that Capcom has a DC license?" You know, I'm like, I thought I was pretty sure because I did read it somewhere, you know, and that wasn't just like on some forum and I saw someone posted it. I read some type of fresh release, but I actually don't think Capcom has a DC license, and if that is indeed the case, Marvel vs. DC would be absolutely crazy, and I think, to me, using process of elimination, there is nothing that I would... Because you know why I think it would be Marvel vs. DC? Because of the amount of movies that are coming out featuring Marvel and DC comic characters. I mean, you look at what's going... There's still more. We got this new Silver Surfer movie coming out in June.
Oh, yeah, that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, of course we have the X-Men films. We've had, you know, Hulk. They're working on the Hulk 2 now. We got Spider-Man 3 in July. You know, there's a comic superhero bonanza going on right now. Oh, Batman 2. I'm sorry. Batman, you know, returns again. I guess that's what they're going to call it. Or Batman Begins again. I don't know what they're going to call it. But anyway, I don't know. I think that that Marvel vs. DC would be pretty cool, and that would definitely get my blood moving. All right. As far as the interview, yes, I did record the interview, and it will be available. Give me until tomorrow, though, on that. Let me think. While I got all you guys listening right now. I know this is probably saying why I'm saying this, but my sympathies go out to anybody that was personally affected by the massacre at Virginia Tech. So that was over 60 people, and they got shot, you know, and I think over half of them died. So my sympathies for all the friends and families of those. I won't spend too much time on it, other than I find it. I heard this mentioned on the radio, and I think it bears repeating. I'm not. You know, if you have a prescription and you go to the pharmacist to fill the prescription, the pharmacist can refuse to fill the prescription at their discretion. You know, they doesn't care that it's been signed by a doctor, but they can do that. So if you can forbid a person from getting a prescription filled because maybe the doctor may or the pharmacist may feel they will abuse it or whatever, how much more should it be where if you're selling a gun or selling guns that you should be very in tune of why certain people are buying guns? And I know a lot of people will say, well, it's a constitutional right. Yeah, but see, this killer was not a U.S. citizen. So the Bill of Rights number 2 wouldn't even apply to him. All I know is this dude bought 2 guns, one being a Glock, and 50 rounds of ammunition, and no one even freaking blinked an eye. A 23-year-old college kid. Yeah. Something's just a little bit off on that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You know, maybe we'll talk about that more at another time. So, by the way, FMJ says that Sega got several licenses to Hulk, Captain America, and Thor to release games along movies based on those characters. So, what are you doing, Alex?
Just listening to you and wasn't there an article also about some politicians said that it was the video games? They blame video games?
I have not seen that. You know, Triforce messaged me Tuesday, and he said that that we should all unite together. I'll just read what he said, but he was, I guess, infuriated because they blame video games, but nowhere in all of the, I mean, I've been reading the newspaper every day since it happened. Nowhere did they ever mention that he played any video games, period, much less playing violent video games.
Okay, so, let's cross-reference it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, video games, and then where was the exact shooting at?
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech shooting.
Because he's like, Triforce is like gave me a link to EmpireArcadia.com, and he's like, "Hey, read this, urgent. Set up a date to make a show on this." And he wants to come on and talk about it. And I mean, and I didn't. When I read it, I'm going, okay, where is this all coming from? Because there's no links to any press coverage that supports what he's talking about. That they're being that this is being blamed on video games. I haven't yet to find one. Because no one. I mean, I don't even think that's really likely because no one hardly knows anything about him. He was such a recluse. He didn't have any friends. So the likelihood of someone coming on and say, "Yeah, dude, yeah, he plays World of Warcraft or whatever, or Quake." I mean, it's unlikely because he had no friends.
Yeah, here we go. Thompson blames. Whoever Thompson is.
I have Jack Thompson.
Is that his name?
And
Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil.
Oh.
Dr. Phil also blames video games for Virginia Tech massacre. Let's see who else. So yeah, this is serious because that guy is like the white Oprah of the United States.
I can't argue with that. Well, the thing about it is that how are video games any different than watching a violent movie?
It's not. They're gonna say, well, at least in video games you can be interactive, so it trains you. Blah blah blah.
I don't really buy that because any sane person can tell the difference between fiction and reality. If they can't, then no matter what they're exposed to, they're going to take it out. They're going to take it out to make it something that it's not really is.
Yeah,
so.
and also I would reference the hamburger bill. If if you're fat or you're going to eat this food that you know has high cholesterol, you cannot blame McDonald's for your high cholesterol if you're the one yourself making the choice to buy that type of food every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like saying, you know the consequences of shooting people. What makes it the certain video game that you're playing makes it to shoot innocent people in a college. They're not terrorists.
By the way, people, go to msnbc.msn.com, and you're going to see a very disturbing picture of this 23-year-old. Where did they get this picture? It's a picture of him holding a gun to his head. The killer. I'm like, where did they get? I mean, for some people, where did they manage to get? Unless he left a suicide note. Let me see. Oh yeah, he did. He left a large. What? The killer mailed NBC News a large package including photographs and videos. What? What? Okay. But then again, see, this further discredits to what we're talking about. Because I'm reading what was supposedly said, and he mentions nothing about video games whatsoever. No alluding to it whatsoever. It's like, I treated it like Doom. I treated it like Quake. There's no reference to any video games to what he's talking about. So he said, from what I understand, he has things against rich people and people who are spoiled, and I guess everything is handed to them on a silver platter. I guess that's
You know whose fault that is then? It's fucking parents. Parents don't even. Sorry, was he white kid? What nationality was the kid?
He's Korean. His parents
Korean?
own. Yes.
Wow, that's a freaking. Was he whitewashed?
What do you mean by that? I don't. He's not part of.
Okay, well, whitewash is it can go towards like the MTV generation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know better than to watch that, and based all of their.
No one really knows because there's so little that is actually known about him.
Korean? What the hell?
Yeah.
Man. Koreans are known to get jacked, not killing people, unless they're in Korea.
Then there's, and the Korean ambassador made some comments, and so have various people in the Korean community, because apparently there's a large Korean community in Virginia near the school. So I don't particularly.
No, but seriously though, man. It's my opinion. It's still the parents' fault. You gotta have some serious disconnect with your kid to not know that he's planning something like that.
Well, okay. I do wanted to say that I did read he wrote 2 plays for his English class because he was an English major. I wrote 2 plays, and both of them have references to sexual abuse. All right. In the first one, but in both instances, the sexual abuse was not actually done in the contents of the play, but in both instances, sexual abuse was mentioned. In the second scenario where it happened at a casino, where it was about 2 kids playing hooky from school at a casino. They were talking about their teacher and everything. The teacher ass rapes all of us. That's what teachers do, and blah blah blah. And then the other one is about a kid that has a disconnect with his stepfather, and then he falsely accuses his stepfather of being abusive, or sexually abusive, because he just hated him. But I noticed that in both of these they mention sexual abuse, and it also mentioned of figures of authority, one being a teacher, the other one being a stepfather. Of course, no one knows but him, and he's dead now. Exactly, what did he? I mean, what did he have to say about that? But I'll say this. But I'll say this much. I'll ask you this, and I'll ask the people out there to answer on RC, or if they want to join in. Do you think that it was too easy for this guy to get a gun, considering that he was not born in the country?
Dude, man, any way you look at this shit, somebody, man, I don't know, dude. You got kids freaking getting mentally fucked when they're young, either the parents' fault or the friend's fault. I mean, you're gonna let this kid, if somebody knows that he's that jacked up, some people's done some medical evaluations on him, and you know that he's a danger to himself, are you gonna unleash him out into the public?
Well, okay, in answer to your question, King RF, he just released something, he just dropped a bombshell. It says, in 2005, Cho Sing-hu, or he, was temporarily detained for psychiatric assessment, as he was suspected to be mentally ill and a danger to himself or others by Montgomery County, Virginia District Court. Virginia Special Justice Paul Barnett certified in an order that Cho Sung-hui presents an imminent danger to himself as a result of mental illness, and directed that as a court-ordered outpatient follow all recommended treatments. Interesting.
Yeah, King ROF just made the best fucking research right there on it. I mean, honestly, how could the government fuck that up? Like he said, I mean, like I said, how are you gonna let somebody out in the public like that, especially in a fucking university, dude? Knowing that in the East Coast you have shit going on like that.
But here's the thing about it is, should someone's mental health be public information when it comes to getting firearms?
Absolutely.
There you go. But it's not because they ran a background check, and his background check came back and returned nothing. Now, the thing about it is, if it returned that he has been recently detained for psychiatric assessment, that might be a red flag that, hey, I know a lot of people are saying, well, I mean, what does it matter? I mean, it matters a lot, because if it made, you know what, there's no telling what would have happened had he not been able to get the gun that exact same day. If he would have got a week later, things might have been different. The shooting might not have happened at all, because something might have happened. You know, I know that that's speculative, but it's also the truth. Things could have happened differently, just depending if certain steps were taken. I would say that someone's mental health should definitely, be a matter of public, not public record, but it should be matter of public record in the sense that when they run a background check, that shit should pop up.
Well, I'm sure it pops up with the fucking, what's that shit called? The DEA. When you're trying to freaking purchase certain items to, make a drug, I'm sure your entire fucking family tree comes up. I'm pretty damn sure, brother. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, this guy that has his mental trauma or whatnot, if his parents trying to help him and whatnot, he's as bad as the fucking terrorists that we have to fucking go through. I mean, how bad could his freaking life be that knowing if he tried to grow up and okay, everybody's cool or whatever, alright, I'll live with that, and then his parents get fucked up or his friends get fucked up, okay, I'm gonna need to back away a little bit, I need some help. Nobody helps him, and then everybody should know he's fucked up. Everybody knows he's gonna be a fucked up kid. You're gonna go out there, alright, look, this guy, this guy's slitting his own wrists. Yeah, let's go bring him out to the university because I think he'd be cool now. No one should say about his fucking mental health. It shouldn't be public records. Let's let him go out there. Let him learn about fucking, self-defense and see what he does with a damn nunchuck in front of his students or whatever. What the fuck, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. It's gay, bro. Honestly, no matter how you look at it, there's always some guy, he said something was wrong with him. He shouldn't have been that. No, fuck that. I'm in an extreme. You put him in a box until he's better. Because it's either that or it's your kid. one of your kids, your mom, your dad is gonna die. Somehow they ended up in Virginia Tech, and because your ass was all like, oh, maybe he needs some help, then your dad is gonna die or your mom's gonna die with him. And then look, see, ain't shit happening until it happens to you.
Let me. I'll mention this much. I'll mention it. And I will definitely mention that. By the way, there's a disparity in depending on what state you're in. It can be harder or easier to get a gun. Virginia has no waiting period on getting a gun. He bought his gun with virtually no problems. But in other states, there is a waiting period that you have to go through. Some other states require you to be trained to use the gun. And some states require you to go under psychiatric evaluation before you get a gun. I'm going, why is that shit not standardized across the country? That to me is a no-brainer. I don't think it is too much to ask that A, we make sure that they're not a felon. B, we make sure that they're in the right state of mind. And C, we make sure that they're trained on how to use it. After all, the thing about guns is, no matter if it's using defensively or offensively, it is meant to kill people. So how could you say that would be too much work to get a gun? That's what I say.
And also, I mean, I don't have any experience of buying a gun or anything, but do they take all your information down and then do some kind of reference check on you first?
Yeah, they run a background check on you, but then again, but a lot of people don't understand that background check is just, this guy has no history. And I said, but the thing about it is that even in the case of a felon, most felons get their guns illegally anyway because they already know they're going to fail the background check.
Yep.
So, so the background check really does not do a heck of, I'm not saying it does no good. What I'm saying is that most of them already know, okay, I'm not going to be able to get a gun by legal means. By the way, it'd be interesting to know that this gun was made in Austria. All right. His two guns were made in Austria. By the way, let me ask you a question. I talked to a semi-gun expert at work. This guy had a Glock. Shouldn't someone ask a question, why does he need a Glock 9mm that can hold 15 rounds? By the way, this gun was technically illegal up until 2004. Clinton signed a bill into law that states that the gun that he used should have the maximum of 5 rounds per clip. How much of a difference would that make versus 15 rounds a clip? If he had to reload every 5 times he shot, that could have been the difference between only a few people dying or no one dying and 32. What do you think?
Yeah, he would have been stopped.
Yeah, he would have, because at that point, I know a lot of people would be shocked when he first got in the classroom and start shooting people. If he shoot people 5 times and then he take out the magazine and he reach into his belt and getting another magazine, then that gives enough time to people like, okay, let's bum rush this fool, and then there you go. But the thing about the matter is, he has 15 rounds in one clip. By the way, that gun can do 15, 17, 19, and 33 rounds for that gun. And although it is not an automatic pistol, it doesn't matter though, because after all, he did manage to. By the way, it's kind of thing is staggering. He shot over 60 people, but you got to assume that not every bullet hit a person. So this dude has fired well over 70 rounds, probably, maybe double that. So I just saying, man.
Dude. Yeah, for you listeners out there, dude, you've got a mental problem. Go get help, dude. We don't want to see you at a tournament and, take it all on us.
CNN reported that Cho bought the gun 36 days ago using 3 forms of ID and paying $571 for the weapon.
Yeah, shit. Could you imagine that, too? What's the difference of whatever, this guy that has a mental problem in Virginia Tech unleashing wrath there, what's the difference between that and having somebody show up to an evolution maybe in a year, 2 years, 10 years from now and doing the same shit on us?
Nothing. You know, if anything, this can have bad repercussions because now you just show all these people that are just as unstable as this guy was that how easy it is to buy a gun. And you know what? Shit ain't gonna change because let me tell you. I mean, people are like it's all politics. No, it's all about greed. They're not going to do anything on the gun laws. They're even refusing to talk about it. So. You know, I'm not even going to go there because nothing's going to change. They're not going to change the gun laws.
Somebody's going to show up to our houses, dude, and put that muzzle on real quick. I know exactly what you're saying.
I mean, seriously. That's just how it is, you know. And
guns are as big as oil, bro.
Yeah, it is. It's a multi-billion-dollar, you know, cash cow, and you know, and it's not a secret that the NRA. Has deep pockets and they have a lot of friends in high places, and that's why that even though that in the United States, I read this today in the Seattle Times, 90 out of every 100 people have guns. I didn't know the statistic was so damn high. So 9 out of every 10 people have guns, and I ask people this question. About those who are really about bearing arms. Show me where carrying more guns means a safer society.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Yeah, I'm getting back on this. What's up? What's up?
So
I will. Hello.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, dude.
Nah.
You vivid right now, dude? You awake now or what, dude?
No, you know what? It was just one of those things where I have gotten some really asinine responses from some of my coworkers because I was telling them I was doing a radio show tonight and I might be talking about this. And a lot of people are like, "No, we shouldn't change the gun laws." All right, so some guy, you know, that's only been in the country for about 12 years, really doesn't have an established history. He's going to go buy 2 guns, including a Glock. That has 15 rounds per magazine, and buys it no problem, and buys it with 50 rounds of ammunition. No one should ask anything. Okay. No, I mean, but if you want to buy a whole lot of antidepressants and go to a pharmacist, the pharmacist says you got. I'm sorry, I can't fill these for you. But you can buy a gun though. No problem. Come on, people. Come on, people.
Never gonna go away.
You know, come on.
Same as a cure for AIDS is never gonna happen.
No, make too much money off the treatments.
Yep, way too much money off the treatment. Same with, lowering our gas prices. Not gonna happen. Because it's a fucking monopoly, dude. We can pay what we have to pay. Pay what we gotta pay, dude. Shit ain't going down. What are we gonna do? Oh yeah, that's actually why the cars can't be better hybrids.
That's right.
You know, they could be better hybrids. They can be, you know, but
don't underestimate. I tell people, don't underestimate when humans have to adapt. You know, but it's just a matter of there is so much red tape, and there's a lot of money involved. Believe me, if we know that if we stop using oil, if we keep on using oil, that we will be extinct in 24, and no, I should say in 2 years. Well, how do you think hybrids was? No, how would you think the hybrid technology would? Hybrid technology will be unreal. You'd be like wondering how come they couldn't do this shit 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That would be the only way where the cost of money is irrelevant. Or greed isn't relevant as far as making money because after all, what good is money if you what did Han Solo say in Star Wars? What good will a war if you ain't around to use it? You know, so hey, to me that would be the only way that you would see like if AIDS was threatened to kill off the entire population. Believe me, we'll have a cure to that shit tomorrow. But you know.
Yeah. Yep.
But
same with Magic being alive. Come on, he's got all the money. I bet you know how many celebrities probably do have that shit, but since they got the money, no one will ever know.
No one will ever know, and they don't really mind just passing it on to other people either.
Yeah. Water.
I mean that's the frightening part. People just don't mind. Hey, yeah, I mean, I got AIDS. I just go pass it on. Out here we got super AIDS in Seattle. It's like, when the doctor tells you have AIDS here, he like pulls out a Bible and starts reading to you. It's like he'd be like, "What the heck are you doing?" You're like, "I'm sorry, you're done for. Just wanted to make sure things are right before And then, or they might put you in. They might give you a car to a good lawyer that does wills and stuff for you. So you're.
Yep. Oh, hey man, I gotta roll out. Gotta eat some dinner. It's nice talking to you like always, brother.
All right, man. You take it easy.
All right, brother.
I'm out as well. This guys, the show will be up tomorrow, so just look forward tomorrow.
All right.
All right, later.